Hello guys, as you may know, my name is AshDash, and in today's video, we are going to be seeing if I can beat Harley Quinn's Revenge, aka Batman Arkham City's DLC, but without gadgets. Now, there will be a list of rules I have to say. Number 1, Robin's bow staff does not count as a gadget, even though it's a part of the bullet shield gadget. Number 2, we can't use gadgets. That's a really good rule. But that's pretty much it for the rules. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe button. But anyways, let's get right into today's video. We start off the game with being Robin and trying to get into Harley Quinn's lair, while trying to find out what happened to Batman, since he disappeared. After finding a way in, we are jumped into our first combat encounter. Now, if I'm just being honest, this wasn't that hard. I mean, since you're pretty much a superhuman in these games, and all you really do is leap to enemy, gadgets aren't really necessary in combat sections. But after that encounter, we actually hit a roadblock. There is a vent that we need to grapple to move on to the next section. Now, I didn't specify if we were counting traversal, but I mean, technically the grapple hook is a gadget, so I guess we are. So since there was absolutely no way on getting up there, I had to use the grapple hook. So that means I have to add one gadget use to the chart. Well, anyways, let's move on. So after making it through that vent and going into the next room, we're once again in another combat section. But after beating the thugs with little to no effort, we run into another problem. There is a wall that requires us to use the explosive gel. Now, since this is a gadget we have to use, we obviously can't do that. So once again, I try to glitch myself past the wall, which obviously doesn't work. So again, I have to use another gadget for this section. And just as it couldn't get any worse, it does. After exploding that wall back there, there's a pool of water that we have to get across. Now, what a normal person would do, they would just swim across to get to the other side. But for some reason, Robin just doesn't know how to swim. And even if he could, that water looks a little bit too still, if you know what I mean. But after trying to get across, I found out that you can jump from the wall and glide across. So after a couple of tries, I eventually crossed the water without a gadget. And what do you think is behind this wall? Well, more easy thugs to beat up. So, after that very easy encounter with beating up the thugs and killing them with still water, normal water, not killing them at all, we are kind of introduced to our first predator section. But this one has some pretty interesting dialogue. Check it out.
It's not a problem. When I kill this sucker, it'll be cool. Then I can maybe come see you?
What?
Nothing.
Did you just make a move on me?
No, I mean, I'm just being friendly, trying to help.
I'm a widow. Do you think you can measure up to my Joker? He was the best a girl could get. I miss him so much, and you think it's okay to move in on his turf?
No, please, you don't understand.
Oh, I understand.
No, really.
Just do what I want and I may forgive you. Feel me and you'll regret it.
After what I do to you, let's just say she's not forgiving you. And no, that was not meant to be weird. But after that very interesting dialogue, there happens to be a turret just chilling there. Like, what a coincidence. Now, to get past this, we would have to use our bullet shield, which obviously we can't do that. So for the third time, I tried to glitch myself past this obstacle, but sadly failed. So you know what that means? I have to add another gadget use to the chart. But there's also another problem. We actually have to use our bullet shield again, since there's this block of steam blocking us from getting past this. So we have to add another gadget use to the chart. But there's also another problem. Guys, there is a sniper guy blocking our way. So I guess we have to use the bullet shield to get past this. Wait, hold on, I forgot. Robin is just invincible in this game and can just take sniper shots to the stomach without bleeding and acts like it's nothing. So, after getting past that really easy sniper section, we have a very large combat encounter. Now, this will probably be another easy encounter, but who knows, maybe they stepped up their game. Now, I will say this, it was definitely a challenge keeping up my combo when I was fighting these thugs, but, let's just be honest, they're still trash at fighting. Like, Harley, I don't know what the heck you were thinking when you were hiring these thugs. At least get some thugs to actually know how to fight. But after putting zero to no effort on fighting these thugs, we stumble upon Batman's utility belt. Then we go back 2 days earlier, and then this is when we become Batman. Now, For my first objective, we are instructed to save some cops from Harley Quinn, but one of them were being held captive at the steel mill. Now, since traversing was off the table, getting to the steel mill without a grapple hook was going to be a very hard problem, and probably the most challenging part in this challenge. Like, me having to take all of these different routes just to climb up one building, to gliding with no airtime just because the building I could climb to were too short, and having to restart a lot just because I kept on getting shot. And to make this even more difficult, I had no armor upgrades, which means I'm pretty much a one-tap at this point. For somehow, I eventually pushed through this difficult section and got to the steel mill. Now, once we got there, yet again, we had to do another combat section, which I easily breezed through. Then, after seeing the cop dangling from a hook, we end up freeing him, and he tells us that there are more cops being held by Harley Quinn. Okay, pause. So, while making the script, I obviously didn't mention this because I'm just so mind-numbingly forgetful, and I just wasn't watching my gameplay back. But pretty much the only way to get out of the steel mill is to use your grapple hook and actually grapple back up from the way you came in. And you know that we obviously can't do that. So, I was just here for about 3 minutes just trying to find a way to escape. And let me tell you, there was no other way to escape. Like, I tried the back door in the steel mill, which was for some reason locked. And I even tried to like glide off a wall, and that didn't even work. So after trying all these things, it wasn't working. So I have to put another gadget use to the chart. So, after leaving the steel mill, we see a group of thugs just chilling outside. So I obviously beat the crap out of them. Now, after doing that positive deed, we actually find a walkie-talkie. So Batman decides to set up a crime scene, and he discovers some blood left from a cop. So, we are instructed to follow the blood trail. So, instead of following it on foot, I decided to get some high ground and fly to my destination. You might be thinking right now, hey, AshDash the Gamer, how do you know where to go? Well, I've played this DLC so many times, I just got it memorized. But after gliding to the location, upon looking at the location, we see a massive door blocking us from getting to the next objective. So, we interrogate this one thug, and he tells us that we need 3 codes to get past this big door. Now, the first code was a little difficult. I mean, I had to go back to the steam mill and climb up to the top just so I could glide. And no, I'm not counting gliding as a gadget. But after gliding to the location of code 1 and taking down the thugs and almost getting killed, I eventually got the first code. Now, I kind of wanted to do this in order just because of you have to do one of the codes from ground level, so I'm doing all the top level codes first, then I'm doing the bottom code for last. And that leads us to the second code, which the guy who has it is surrounded by snipers. So, I first tried to take out all the snipers without being seen, but I didn't have enough high ground, so that obviously didn't work. So, then I found out that you could just interrogate the guy with the code without taking out any of the snipers. So, I just decided to wait a long time just for the perfect time to interrogate him. And what do you know? I actually did it without taking a single hit. Now, for the final code, we are instructed again to beat these low-life thugs up and interrogate one of them. So, after beating up all the thugs and interrogating this one thug, we finally got all 3 codes, and we can finally get through that big door. But the only problem is that it requires us to use the cryptographic sequencer, which is a gadget, and I know for a fact there's no way I can glitch myself through that door. So again, I had to add 1 gadget to the chart. So after unlocking the door and going on to my next objective, again, for the 50th time, I get sent into another combat section. And since I'm just so used to being in these situations, I obviously destroyed them without using any of my gadgets. So, after doing that, we go on to the next room, and I end up seeing a wall that needs to be exploded with my explosive gel. Now, since we can't do that, I tried to figure out a way to get past this roadblock, and like usual, nothing ended up working. So, I had to yet again use my explosive gel on the wall, and add 1 gadget use to the chart. And now, I want you guys to guess what awesome thing I discovered behind this destroyed wall. Another obstacle that wants me to use one of my gadgets. Who saw that coming? Definitely not me. Okay, that's kind of cringe. Now, again, this is a water obstacle, so maybe I can swim since this is You know what? Never mind. And also, this water kind of looks a little still, like the water company. What do you think I meant? But after trying to do the wall jump strat like I did last time to see if I could at least get past this obstacle, sadly nothing ended up working. So I had to use my line launcher not once, but twice. What a horrible experience. But after that awful experience I just encountered, we go through these set of stairs and the game puts us in another stealth section. Finally, something that doesn't involve combat. So, when I was trying to take these guys out, I did actually get seen once, so I had to restart my game. But, since I'm an Arkham veteran, and I'm just so good at this game, I wasn't obviously trying. But now, it's time to put, the game on. Yeah. But, when I loaded back into the game, I obviously just destroyed them with some silent takedowns, some glide kicks, and hey, some ground takedowns to finish the job. Now, maybe me taking out all of Harley Quinn's goons probably wasn't the best idea, since a couple of seconds later, I got folded and got shot by Harley Quinn. Then after this, we get taken by Harley Quinn's goons, then quickly switch back to Robin. So, our next objective as Robin was to find out where Batman was and to see where he was trapped. While making our way there, we do actually run into some hot steam, and since it's literally impossible to get past this, we have to use our bullet shield and add one gadget used to the chart. So after that, we eventually do end up finding Batman in some sort of circle, what should I call this? Box. There, let's just go with circle box. And we also find out that his air is slowly diminishing from the circle box. And the only way to free him is by getting a key card. And it turns out that Harley has the card. So while making our way there, we once again run into some more thugs. Now, it wants us to use our snap flash for this situation, which is a gadget, so we obviously can't do that. And the good thing about this whole situation is that I don't have to even use the gadget, since I can just take bullets like it's nothing. Remember, it's the Arkham games we're talking about, not real life. So once we beat up those thugs, and again, get past this really easy sniper section, then one more easy combat section later, we finally make it to Harley Quinn. Now, I was expecting this boss fight to be more difficult, just because of me not being able to use my gadgets, but surprisingly, it was relatively easy. I mean, the only downside was me just taking some hits from thugs. Well guys, you see, I kind of wanted to clear this up. Well, you see, I was actually lying about the whole part where I didn't get hit. I actually didn't get hit a single time. So, you know, I just thought I'd just put that in, you know, just to let you guys know. And that's pretty much it. I mean, really all I would do is just go up to Harley, punch her a bunch of times, then just dip out of there. Then to just wait again and maybe do a silent takedown, or to do the same, beat her up, then getting out of there again. So that was kind of my strat for this whole Harley Quinn boss fight thing. So, after showing her who's boss and getting the key card from her, we end up actually throwing her off a ledge, and to my surprise, killing her.
Whatever you say.
Is what would have happened if Robin hadn't put that line around her foot. But after this, I went back to the room where Batman was, and to go save him. Now, upon arriving, I see a massive load of enemies just waiting to kick my butt. And they were also talking trash.
His scrawny little neck, too.
Well, look who it is. Little Robin, come back to play. You ready for us to kick your ass, little bird boy?
And you know I couldn't let that slide. So I decided to jump right into the fight. And to my surprise, they were actually winning. But I kicked in my inner Batman Arkham veteran skills and demolished them. Actually, they were kind of demolishing me first, but who cares, I still beat them. But after that, I go up to the chamber where Batman was being held, and end up saving him and giving back his utility belt. Then, after this wholesome Batman and Robin moment, it turns out that Harley Quinn has placed bombs around her warehouse. So after hearing this, the game has to switch over to Batman to disarm the bombs. So the only problem with this DLC is it instructs us to consistently use our gadgets, specifically the cryptographic sequencer, the grapple hook, the electric gun, the explosive gel, and then finally the freeze grenade. And since I'm on a 5-minute timer, I'm gonna have to be quick, so let's get a move on. The first one is easy and requires the cryptographic sequencer. So once we get the code, we can finally shut down the bomb. But that's when the timer actually starts. So after running out of that room, we run into some hot steam. So since it's still impossible to get past this, we have to use our freeze grenade to get around the steam. Then, upon coming towards the second bomb, there appears to be a sniper on some sort of ledge. So, to actually take him out, that requires us to use our grapple hook. So after grappling up and taking him out, we actually have to use our grapple hook again since I didn't have enough air time to actually get to the next bomb. But once we grapple up there are 2 things of hot steam blocking our path. So again, we have to use our freeze grenade twice just to get past this obstacle, and we have to use the cryptographic sequencer for the bomb. But after the second bomb, we move on to the last bomb of this section of the game. And this last bomb requires us to use the explosive gel, and the electric gun, and lastly, the cryptographic sequencer. So after using all of these things and shutting down the last bomb, Harley Quinn decides to call us up for a fight. So while trying to get there, we once again, for the 50th time, run into another stream of steam that's blocking us. So as usual, we have to use our gadget and add another gadget used to the chart. Then finally, we make it to Harley Quinn, and she decides for some reason to send these killer robots after us for some unknown reason. So obviously, since we're Batman, it's pretty much no threat, and at this point, we're pretty much a superhuman in these games. So after easily beating up, or should I say, breaking all of these robots, at the end, we are supposed to grapple up to Harley and take her down. And since there's no other way to get up there, we need to use our grapple hook and add one gadget used to the chart. And then out of nowhere, while we are apprehending Harley, she decides to pull out a bomb on us and triggers it. And with nowhere to go, this happens.
No.
We end up beating the DLC. Now the one question that we have all been waiting for, is it possible to beat Harley Quinn's revenge, but without gadgets? Well, definitely not. With a gadget use of 23, there's no chance at beating this DLC without at least cheating. But if you guys have enjoyed this video and you want to see more Can You Beats on this channel, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!